Hi everybody, it's meteorologist Joe CIoffi on this Friday night, FiOS 1 News Long Island and FiOS 1 News New Jersey, and we have meteorologist Joe Rayo, FiOS 1 News Hudson Valley, who will be here momentarily. If you were not with us last night, I had to sit through and endure almost 30 minutes of onions, because Joe decided that it was perfectly okay to eat some onions, raw onions, before we went on the air, and I have to tell you, it was not easy. So I have instructed Mr. Rayo that he is to hold raw onions. Michelle Wallace is on. Hi, Michelle. Nice to see you here. And of course, my La Fitzgerald, meteorologist Brian Fitzgerald, Emmy-nominated meteorologist Brian Fitzgerald has joined us. This is, I'm just beyond words. Wait till Joe finds out. Mike Panici is on. See you in the morning, Michael. And we've got David Fleischer, Raymond Higbee, Cynthia Gwynn Yautis, right from Central Indiana. Barbara Liedner, Jessica Zerbis, Vinny Dice Ruggiero. Oh, I am really blessed tonight. Nice. Marcello Silva, James Hallmark, Jimmy Zindel. Oh, yes, Brian, you are difficult. Oh, my, you are very difficult. It's important that you be difficult. And then, if you win this Emmy, then you have to behave very, very badly. Actually, Brian is anything but. It's the absolute opposite. Oh, speaking of which, La Rayo, I think, may be approaching as we speak. I was just going over what happened last night with that almost tragic outcome that we had.
Onions de la Antoine.
Oh, but il bayou bordelais à la Antoine. Oh, boy. So we had a lot of fun. Anyway, you know what? I didn't think of this until after I left last night of Bugs Bunny Buck Bunny Bayou Bordelais à la Antoine.
And some people may remember back in the mid-1960s the Soupy Sales Show, and he did a takeoff on a old-time radio detective. He called his version Philo Kvetch.
Oh, God.
And one of his arch enemies was Onions Oregano.
Oh, jeez.
And every time he appeared on the scene, he would take something to spray, some deodorizer. Or
yes.
So, which you could have used last night, I suppose, with my unfortunately taking way of an onion.
Well, they were Ivan's onions too, so
yes,
he needs to be chewed out for that.
But he didn't want him.
By the way, Brian Fitzgerald is on. He's watching.
Brian Fitzgerald is watching?
He's being very difficult.
Well, he should be, because a week from this coming Saturday night,
when he wins the Emmy,
when he walks away with the Emmy,
he's going to be impossible after that. He knows to come to me for lessons on being impossible. All right, so we've got a weekend. Danny Nankumar, yes, a missed snowstorm for New York City and everybody else, it seems.
On this, the 36th anniversary of the blizzard of '82, which dumped, and if you go to my Facebook page, Joe Rayo Weather, you'll see the New York Times headline, and also you could read the story about how the storm just absolutely devastated New York. That storm, and I'm more impressed not so much with the snow itself, but the cold weather that followed for the few days afterward. I mean, we had a significant snowfall, this past Monday, and yet it was all gone within a matter of hours. It was not all gone in 1982 with all the cold and windy weather.
No, not at all. That was very unusual. That was a real Arctic air mass that came down with that.
That's true.
But we are actually going to have a very cold air mass coming down for, it's going to start bleeding in tomorrow, but really for Sunday and Monday. And it is going to be brought down by this developing coastal low that's going to be to our east, but we're not going to get the snow part of the equation, because unlike the storms that we've seen all winter long that have done these last-minute westward shifts back, this one appears that it will not be doing that. And there are a number of reasons why that is the case. But we could go right to that. I'm going to leave Bugs Bunny up in the corner, though. Wait, let me not do that. Whoops. Hold on.
Yeah, we did have a touch of wet snow this morning. My wooden deck got partially sugar coated, but that was about all. That's as far as it went. And for a while, I mean, looking out the window, I mean, it was coming down fairly steadily, but it was not doing all that much. The temperatures were a few degrees above freezing, so...
And that warm front managed to get through late this afternoon. There were some pretty interesting temperature differentials in the Hudson Valley.
Right. Yonkers got up to 60, but meantime, Newburgh up in Orange County didn't get much higher than 45 or 46, so it was rather weird. Interesting. I'm going to use a $5 word here. An interesting dichotomy of temperatures.
At least that's a $5 word.
Across the Hudson Valley.
I'm putting up the jet stream pattern here for tomorrow night at 2 a.m. And it kind of illustrates what the issue is. It has actually been the issue with a number of these East Coast storms. And that is the dip in the jet stream, the trough that's in the east. It's not sharp this time around. It's a lot broader. It's a little bit further to the east than in the other cases, and as a result, any low. If you want to kind of imagine, if you put a low just off the coast of North Carolina and then follow the line that the letter L sits on, that's the track that it's going to take, and that means that the surface low is going to go well to our south and east. I'll give you a view here from the GFS for today, which actually was one of the models that was further west than anybody else,
right,
at least for a while. But you can see that surface low for tomorrow evening, and it actually does have a little bit of snow touching southern New Jersey. Here's where it's probably at its closest pass with regards to Long Island and coastal New Jersey on Sunday morning, and it's too far out to really do anything. But you've got this big cold high that's bringing down more cold air for Sunday. I think Monday morning we'll be down in the 20s to near 30 in a lot of spots,
which is ridiculous for this time of the year.
Oh, beyond ridiculous.
By the way, the guys over at the Weather Prediction Center, and I always look at what they say because they don't care whatever happens from one end of the country to the other. They look at everything in a...
they really don't have a bias. It does,
no bias.
Whatever personal bias we try not to have personal biases when we do our forecasts.
Right.
It's kind of hard sometimes, but
right.
We try.
But they had, skimming the south coast of Long Island, they had a 10% chance of at least 4 inches. But what really opened my eyes was Cape Cod and the islands. They had a 10% chance of at least 12 inches of snow.
Really?
I'm not really sure why they did that. But maybe they think that.
I guess if they're unless they're expecting a closer pass than what models are showing.
Well, the models all winter long have been ultimately pushing the storm track, which we originally would base everything on, would push it further to the east, to the west, and it really won't take all that much to push, the significant snows to the west in this particular case tomorrow night. But right now, it doesn't look like much of anything for our viewership here in the tri-state area.
Well, let's hope so. The next model cycle starts shortly. I jumped on the upper air jet stream to the end of next week, which, if this verifies, will be really nice because there's a ridge in the east. So for a change, so our air is coming from warmer places and not from Canada. And this is the GFS's view of this, which keeps it here into Saturday before we get the next weather system coming along later Sunday into Monday. But I would caution, Joe, that the European, which admittedly has not done well in its long-range view, but has been kind of insisting that this cold air is going to hold on, doesn't have as much of a ridge at all. It maybe says that it gets warm for 1 day instead of 2 or perhaps 3, but right away it crashes at whatever ridge that tries to build. And the reason why is if you see that dark blue spot that's east of Newfoundland, that is going to that, according to the European, keeps that ridge from building. So we'll have to wait over the next few days to see which model has the upper hand in this. The other thing I would point out is beyond the 10-day period, you can start to see some hints of it on the European. But if we go back to the GFS, and it's been doing this for the last few days, look what builds back up in Canada.
Well, you know,
here comes the block again.
They may have seen that at the Climate Prediction Center. Those are the folks, that's the division of NOAA where you have men and women who are experts in long-range forecasts. They are running on Fridays, they run an experimental 3 to 4 week series of maps giving the probability for both temperature and precipitation. And today, the 3 to 4 week probability map takes us now to the beginning of May, the first few days of May. And guess what? The northeastern United States is in the below normal zone. So maybe, just maybe, they're thinking that, uh-oh, the block is going to rebuild and we're going to go back into a chillier than normal weather pattern again.
This upper air pattern, the way it sets up, displaces the jet stream way to the south. That is a cold, that's a cold look for the middle part of April. I actually hope it doesn't happen, but look how persistent it is. So while we may get a bit of a breakdown here late next week for a couple of days, if the GFS is right, the GFS is also taking us into this, very blocky pattern. I'm going to put the anomalies up. It's not going to make everybody happy. I mean, look at this. This is insane. So here's that above normal. So, just to make everybody happy. Okay, let's be happy. Here is the GFS, starts to get above normal Thursday, and then Friday. We're at April 19th. I got to go back a little. Hang on. I'm losing track of the dates here. So here's Tuesday. So we're still cold early this week.
Friday the 13th next week.
Friday the... all right, so I'm a week ahead. I'm sorry. I knew it was off. Okay, so here's Friday of next week. So here comes that warm, above normal temperatures for Friday, above normal temperatures for Saturday, and still above normal for Sunday, but shrinking. And then here comes, you start to get into this cold again. Looks like one day above normal squeezed in between before it just really takes over toward the end of the forecast period. I mean, that is just... everybody east of the Rockies below average temperatures.
Incredible. Well, at least even if we get to near normal, I'm not asking for above normal.
Let's just get to average. I agree with you.
If we get to average, we're so acclimated with these unseasonably chilly temperatures of 5 to 15 degrees below normal. To just get to normal will feel really, really good. But this is crazy. It's
bizarre. It really is. And the other thing I would say is, without having to look at specifics, because that's just really a waste of time to start looking at when you look at the surface maps for these days. But just it's probably it certainly is better to kind of look at the broad view. But you wonder whether if this does happen, I mean, is there a chance that we could have one more? And this would be coming in a time frame where it would be almost, but not quite, unheard of.
Well, the latest snow that has ever been seen in the New York area, I believe, was the 9th of May, 1977. Although 77 was cold straight through, and we were not cold straight through this particular season. Of course, we had that very warm February.
Right.
And we had that temperature that was around 80. I think it was on February 21st.
All-time record highs were set in some places.
So it's not of the same character as that 1977 year, and that was also the year 1977 where they had the first and only snow sighted down in Miami, I believe.
Right.
So, but this is wacko.
There are some measurable snowfalls, but they're not seeing that. Oh. That's the whole La Onions thing. No, I wanted to pull up the plumes while you were talking. There are a few scattered, very light snowfalls peppered in the second half of April on the Central Park record, but they are few. Okay, and far between. So it would really, once you get past April 15th, I mean, even to put down a coating to an inch would be awfully unusual.
I have to look at. I've got, and if any of you out there listening have not put these books in your library, you should. David Ludlum has printed, the late David Ludlum. I knew David Ludlum. In fact, he was a friend of mine. In fact, believe it or not, before he died, Joe, a lot of his records, a friend of his brought like 4 cartons of his stuff to my house when I was living in Levittown. I've got them in my attic somewhere. I should go over some of that stuff because they're also invaluable. But he was a first-class record keeper, and he published a book, Old American Winters, going back into the 17th and 18th century. Crazy winters where they had like 12 inches of snow down near New Orleans, or stuff like that. I should dig this out and see whether or not in the New York area or in nearby New England we had a major snowfall back in the days.
Take a look. It'd be interesting to see.
And also the book by Cosin and Ussolini, Louis Ussolini, who is the president of the National Weather Service, the head of the National Weather Service right now, and Paul Cosin, who for many years was the winter weather expert on the Weather Channel. And
I love Paul. Paul Cosin's great. He is just amazing.
And they came up with a couple of books of great storms in the Northeast.
Those are incredible. If you're a snowstorm buff, those books, there are 2 volumes of them, and they added the second volume as time has gone on. Those are really great books to read about how those storms form, the meteorology behind them, and so on.
So I'm gonna look through some of those books, all of those books, and we'll see whether or not how deep. Because now you've got me curious. We have to see some of those maps right now. Is it possible that we could see, more than, let's say, 3 or 4 inches of snow in late April, or even out toward the beginning of May? It suddenly becomes.
You would think if it does happen, it would be a once-in-a-lifetime event. If it did.
Absolutely.
All right. So we can tell you, by the way, I just looked at the SREF plumes, which up until late this afternoon were still throwing around some 4, 5, and 6 inch amounts. They are now showing very little, only about a ½ an inch at Islip. I think it gave an inch at Atlantic City and ½ an inch at East Hampton, a little more than ½ an inch at East Hampton. So now that the plumes have kind of gotten rid of any possibility, we're done. Nothing's happening this weekend, and we can take it easy.
Did you check the no gaps?
Stop.
Did you check the Japanese model?
No, I'm not doing that.
How about the Canadian model? The Canadian model is what, giving us like 18 inches of snow?
No.
Which you were talking? No, you were talking with.
Maybe a few days ago it did. When was I talking about that?
You were talking about that with Mr. K a couple of days ago.
Oh no, that was actually one of the model members of the SREF. Was giving like 20 inches to everybody. It was just ridiculous.
All right.
That's why the SREF is to use the tool that we use. It's basically a family of models. There's like 26 of them, and they each come out with their own prediction. It's not really overly useful in terms of the specific amounts because they put all 26 numbers and just give you an average, which really doesn't tell you anything. Doesn't tell you which model's right. But the better thing I like to use with the SREF is to look at trends. Is it rising? Is it falling? Is it holding? And in this case, it just was kind of holding, and now it just completely collapsed.
Otherwise, at this time of the year, it's a dysfunctional family.
That's correct.
An ensemble of dysfunctional models.
All right. So we're coming up on a weekend. What are you up to?
I have no clue. Well, my wife was able to, through one of the local food markets or whatever, she was able to get a turkey, a free turkey. I said, "What do you think? Is it Thanksgiving or whatever like that?"
I've cooked turkey. I've done turkey off season many times. In fact, a lot of times I like to get the turkey thighs, and I will grill them in the oven.
So I think Sunday will be Turkey Day at the Rayos.
Awesome.
And tomorrow,
bring some leftovers on Monday.
I think tomorrow.
With no onions. Go on.
Tomorrow might be a semi cleanup day because I've yet to get rid of all of the sticks, twigs, branches, and tree limbs that have fallen on my front lawn since those 4 nor'easters last month.
Yeah.
And they need to. And it's incredible because at this time of the year, normally this would be the weekend where I would get on the tractor mower and start, mowing and getting the first. Can't do that.
No, I mean I have. It's a lot of folks. A lot of my landscaper guys that I talk to, and snow removal guys who do landscaping businesses. A lot. My buddy Russ Fergala, for example, he was telling me, that usually they can't even start their winter cleanups yet, and in many cases, one of my other friends, Steve Volpe, told me that. They're still working on stuff. They didn't even get around to finishing the fall cleanups because of how warm it was. The leaves took forever to come down, and then it just got bitter cold. So, and I've got cleanups to do around my house. I can't, I'm not standing outside in the cold and doing it. I'm a baby. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, it's going to be, again, it's only going to be in the 40s at best tomorrow.
And when it's cloudy and there's a bit of a wind.
Now, wait a minute. I do believe, don't you have a library talk coming up?
Yes. Oh, very good to take that shameless self-promotion cue. Sunday, Deer Park Library in Deer Park. On Lake Avenue. I will be there from 1:30 to 2:45, and we'll talk about this really remarkable winter, and particularly the remarkable last 5 weeks that we've had, how we got there, and where we're going, because apparently we're not done yet. Maybe we're done with the snow part of it. I don't know if we are or we aren't. The cold part certainly doesn't look like we're done with that. And let's just hope that we get a warm-up. But please, by all means, there's plenty of room. The Deer Park Library at 1:30 on Sunday. And, I mean, it's not like you're going to be doing anything outside because it's just going to be too cold anyway.
Right.
So you might as well come into the warm library, free heat, lots of books. We'll have good conversation. And I'll take your questions, the important ones like, yes, this is my hair. Yes, it's my hair color.
Do you bring any of your tchotchkes with you? The Joe Cioffi nor'easter cups, or the shower curtains, or the...
No, I don't. No, I don't do that. Not yet, anyway. Or the Joe Stradamus umbrella. No, I don't do that, no. So I hope everybody's got a good weekend planned. Stop by the library if you can, and I guess you and I will be back next week on Monday.
Talking about the next whatever. On Tuesday.
All right, so Joe Rayo's coming up on Fios 1 News Hudson Valley at the top of the hour.
And at the top of the hour, if you have Verizon cable and are able to access the Long Island or New Jersey zones, you will find moi, Mr. Cioffi.
Yes, Andrew Pinheiro Saturday morning, Mike Latella Saturday evening, and then they will do it again Sunday morning and Sunday evening. Hi, Stalin, I know you have my back. Sorry, I saw you there before, but I didn't get a chance to say hi. So everybody have a great weekend. We will see you on Monday.